Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Lisa, and in this video I'm going to give my top 3 tips of drawing short fur. And if you like this video, remember to like and subscribe. And if you feel like you'd like to give any of these pieces a go, these are all real-time tutorials on my Patreon channel. I'll leave a link in the description below. Let's start with tip number 1, which is layering. So when it comes to realism, drawing fur, and really making sure that you're getting the depth of the fur, you need to build up your layers by starting with a base layer. The base layers are usually made up of lighter colours than what the actual piece is. So for this chipmunk, I use a base of the cream and also the warm grey one because these are the base layers and the undertones that you can see. You then start to go in and build up your mid-tones, making sure that you're going in the direction of the fur, and if the fur is short, you will just want to make your pencil strokes and shading nice and short as well. After putting in some of the mid-tones, you can go back in with your lighter colours and help to build up the layers a little bit more. So if you just go in straight away and start doing fur strokes with no base layers down, it's just going to look flat and not very realistic. So once you have your base layers down and then your mid-tones, you can start to go in with the darker colours and really outline where you can see some of these fur strokes. Once you have a heap of layers down, you can either burnish with your pencils, which means putting down a lot more pressure to smush all of the colours together, or you could use a liquid blender to blend everything together. And then finally you start to go over with your darker tones. And that brings us to tip number 2, which is pencil strokes. So you want to make sure that you're doing your pencil strokes for the fur in the direction of the fur and the same length that you can see on your reference photo. If you go through putting really long strokes where it's very short fur, it will look like long fur and not very realistic. Which also brings us to tip number 3, which is having really sharp pencils when you're doing these final layers of your fur. So if your reference photo and your piece is really close up and you really want to get all of those little tiny details in, you need to have a sharp pencil. I prefer to use a Derwent crank handle sharpener, which helps get a really sharp point. And then to get an even sharper point, I use a sanding block. And so when you're putting down your fur strokes, you want to put it down and flick it off in the direction that the fur is going. So you want to make sure that you're tapering out your line so it's thicker at one end and smaller at the other end. You'll also want to cross over your lines to make it look a little bit more realistic. And if you're wanting to give the impression that white fur is overlapping dark fur, you need to do your pencil strokes in the opposite direction. So you're really drawing the shadows in between the fur strokes. In the description below, I'll put a link to my blending video, which helps with liquid blending and pencil blending, and also my hints for the best sharpener to get really sharp points. So I really hope that you like this video. Remember to like and subscribe. All of these tutorials are available on my Patreon, where we go through each piece step by step with real-time instructions, and you get given the reference photo, line art, material list, everything you need to complete this all by yourself. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks guys.